Welcome back to Ghostfire Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today we do another deep dive into Netflix. And let's get to the list. Remember is a 2022 Japanese mystery horror movie. Directed by Ichiro Hosumi, it stars Kana Hashimoto, Gordon Maeda, and Maika Yamamoto. The plot's about a high school student and her friends, who are trapped in a time loop by a ghost, and the only way to escape is to find the corpse of the previous victim. So I had never heard of this, and last night was my first time watching it. Just scanned through Netflix, looking for one more to add to this list that I enjoyed. So you can definitely watch this with subtitles because it is in Japanese, or there is a dubbed version that I thought was really good. That's what I ended up watching. Either way, this movie was so much fun. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of those late 90s, early 2000s movies that I loved so much when I was a teenager. Movies like Urban Legend or I Know What You Did Last Summer. Just those fun teen thriller, slasher, horror movies. This one is not a slasher. It's a haunted kind of deal, but it's got that teen thing going on. But I thought they did a really good job with their teens that kind of have more heart to it and a better story than a lot of those movies that I saw. This is actually a pretty well written movie. So it does have a little bit of its drama and its teen thing going on, especially the soundtrack is a little goofy, but the kills and the originality, the way this thing looks, and just the story in general of what they have to do was really unique, and I enjoyed it very much. But this isn't a movie to take serious. This is just a movie when you're looking for a good time. Very much a popcorn horror movie. But I had a really good time with it, and I definitely recommend you guys give this a look. Soft and Quiet is a 2022 drama horror movie. Written, produced, and directed by Beth Araujo in her directorial debut. It stars Stephanie Estes, Olivia Liccardi, and Melissa Paulo. An elementary school teacher organizes a mixer with like-minded women, but when she encounters a woman from her past, it leads to a violent chain of events.
Now we are the best secret weapon that no one checks at the door because we tread quietly.
Okay, so this is a very strange one for me. Normally, the movies that are on these lists are movies that I recommend, movies that I really enjoyed, movies that I want you guys to watch. This is a little bit different because I really appreciate and respect the hell out of this movie. It's really well done, extremely well acted, just everything about it, the way it's shot, the writing, the pacing. It's really, really a solid indie movie. However, did I enjoy myself? No, not at all. This movie is a miserable watch. It is uncomfortable and disturbing and does things that I'm not a fan of or stand behind whatsoever. The beliefs that are represented in this movie are just not okay. But that's not what the filmmakers were going for. They're not trying to show these women and this situation as a positive thing. They're showing these horrible women and the awful things they do as an example of just how out of control some people can be and what it'll lead to. But this is a movie that's going to be very divisive, uncomfortable, and probably raise a lot of eyebrows and be very controversial. But once again, I'm not endorsing this as a movie to have a good time with, but I am endorsing the fact that it's a really well-made movie and really achieves what it's going for. Because I left this movie upset, full of turmoil, and very disturbed by it. To be honest, as much as any movie I've seen in a very long time, but don't go into this thinking you're going to have fun with it, because that's not what kind of movie this is. This is not your normal kind of horror movie either. This is a real world situation that's very disturbing and does a lot of things that you're probably, if you're like me and your beliefs, you are not going to feel comfortable with and not like. I mean, straight up, this movie made me angry as hell and feel just enraged. And at first I was like, there's no way I'm putting this on this list. But then I was like, you know what? This is what this movie was trying to accomplish. So because of that, It's a fantastic movie for doing what it's trying to do. But this is a movie kind of like last year's Speak No Evil that is gonna be upsetting for most people. It's not a movie you're gonna have fun with or enjoy and be probably very angry and frustrated by the time you're done watching. But because of that's the point of what this movie is trying to accomplish, it makes it a really fantastic piece of film art. So because of that, and only because of that, is it on this list. So be warned, this is not a movie I endorse in any way as far as what the message is. It's just a well-made film that is trying to show something that is just real world horrific. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities is a 2022 horror anthology. It features 8 modern horror stories directed by filmmakers including David Pryor, Keith Thomas, Panos Cosmatos, Jennifer Kent, and others.
Lot 36. And you curious?
Whatever is in there is mine now.
So each one of these is not like a normal anthology. It's not really like an episode. Each one of these is very much their own movie. So in a lot of ways, it's like you're watching 8 different movies. Some of them are extremely good, like honestly some of the best movies I've seen in a long time, and then others are just okay. There wasn't any, in my opinion, that was a full-on, flop. All of them were solid on some level, but some of these, oh my god, are just masterfully done. And in some ways I wish some of these were individual movies released, because I feel like they would be getting a lot more attention, because sadly this series just has not gotten nearly enough attention, and it blows my mind, because especially David Pryor and Panos Cosmatos, as well as others, but those two in particular really stuck out to me, and they're just fantastic, especially David Pryor's one, The Autopsy. It is amazing. It's like this mystery whodunit, but it's grisly and brutal and gory and really interesting. It does some unique things. The guy is just amazing, because ever since I saw his film The Empty Man a few years ago, I've just been excited to see what he's gonna do next. And so when I saw this and realized this guy's not just a one-trick pony, he is a really solid filmmaker, it just made me so excited. But every one of these is fun and unique in different ways. Some of them are more comedic, some of them are more straight horror, and some of them are body horror, like just all these different subgenres of horror. And each one is introduced by Guillermo del Toro, doing almost like a Crypt Keeper type of introduction. But yeah, this series is fantastic. I hate to almost call it a series. It's much more of a group of movies. Really think of something like Masters of Horror. It's more like that than it is something like Tales from the Crypt. But this is fantastic, and one I highly, highly recommend.
I'm done, you hear me?
Why is he counting down?
Unfriended is a 2014 Screen Life supernatural horror movie. Directed by Levan Gabriez in his feature film debut. It's the first film to be entirely shot on a computer screen and stars Shelley Hennig, Moses Storm, and Renee Olstead. A group of online chat room friends find themselves haunted by a mysterious supernatural force using the account of their dead friend.
Hey Mitch, who's your buddy?
Who is that?
I just tried to hang up on him.
Can we get rid of this person?
I don't know.
Was this here the whole time?
It's just probably a glitch.
So I've heard of this movie for many years now, and just, I don't know, something about it just seemed cheesy, not like something I would be interested in. Very teenager kind of thing is the way it came across. I've never been like a huge online chat room guy either, so it just never sounded like something that I would be into. And then eventually the hype around it kind of faded away, and I've just kind of forgot it. But then when I was going through Netflix, and yes, Netflix doesn't have a ton of great horror, so I have to dig deep. I have to really go through every single movie and be like, is this worthy? Is this something worth watching? Is this something worth putting on the list? So when I saw this, I was like, what the hell? I've seen basically everything on Netflix, and I was just curious on the hype, on why this was such a big deal when it came out. And I gotta tell you, I was so surprised by how captivating, how well done this is. Because since this was made, we've seen numerous other movies do something similar where the whole movie takes place on a computer. It's all based on a screen. Kind of like in 2020, we had the indie movie Host, which was fantastic, and I really enjoyed that, which is also part of why I was like, hey, I'll give this a shot, because I really enjoyed that, didn't expect to. But this movie is so well done. The entire cast feel absolutely authentic, organic, but it's also fun. It isn't too teenager. Yes, there is this kind of teenager drama stuff, but it ends up really having stakes and weight to it, and the way that people are killed or surprising. Just in general, this movie was so much better than I expected. And so I definitely think if you've yet to see this, I think you really should check it out. Either way, I was pleasantly surprised with how entertaining and how enjoyable it was. So I highly recommend it.
Interruption. Niveau d'oxygène approchant du seuil critique.
Oxygen is a 2021 French-language sci-fi thriller. Directed and produced by Alexandra Aja, it stars Melanie Laurent, Matteo Amalric, and Malik Zidi. The story is about a woman who wakes up in a cryogenic chamber with no recollection of how she got there.
Je suis Milo, votre médicale interface de liaison opérateur.
This is a small, intense movie. Everything really takes place, for the most part, in just this chamber with this woman in there trying to figure out how to get out, how to survive, and all of that. But then it flashes to her memories, and slowly you start to piece together how she got there, who she is, and just this entire story. And it's really captivating, because it doesn't seem like it would be at first, because it just seems like a real simple, small scenario. But it gets more and more intense, honestly, on the edge of your seat intense, with some fun little twists and turns that make it very exciting. It's really well directed and paced to where it never really drags. Even though it's simple, it's absolutely entertaining. And Melanie Laurent gives one hell of a performance. She feels so believable, so raw, with the most organic, realistic emotions. I really enjoyed this movie, and I think it's definitely worth your time.
Did you happen to see anything peculiar the past couple days?
No.
Polar is a 2019 neo-noir action thriller. Directed by Jonas Ankerland, it stars Mads Mikkelsen, Vanessa Hudgens, and Catherine Winnick. A retiring assassin suddenly finds himself on the receiving end of a hit, contracted by none other than his own employer, seeking to cash in on the pensions of his aging employees.
Thought you stopped smoking.
Figured it wouldn't kill me.
This is a fun, stylish, creative movie that's kind of flown under the radar. Recently, I went and saw and did a review of Sisu, and this in a lot of ways kind of reminds me of that. It's a different style of movie because Polar is very flashy and feels almost like a music video. So much style and color and just wild scenarios. But the idea of an aging assassin, and it gets super gory and stylish and fun, kind of like John Wick, but much more flashy. It's edited, like I said, like a music video. It's full of so much style, and I absolutely love Mads Mikkelsen. He's one of my favorite actors, especially ever since I saw him in Hannibal the series. I've just been a huge fan of his. Everything he does, he just commits to and really embodies that character. And once again, he's great in this. He's just this really badass, believable assassin that just kicks some serious ass. But this is not a movie to take serious. It's just a fun popcorn type of movie, but one that if you're looking to be entertained and just have a good time, this is one to definitely add to your list. Lights Out is a 2016 supernatural horror movie. Directed by David F. Sandberg in his directorial debut and produced by James Wan. It stars Teresa Palmer, Gabriel Bateman, and Billy Burke. It's about a young woman who must control her childhood fears. to protect her brother from a vengeful supernatural entity. This is a really cool movie that's kind of been slowly forgotten. It's surprising to me because it did really good at the box office, and it's a really fantastic little horror movie. It's stylish and creative with some really spooky elements and just looks really cool as well. And even though this is a subgenre that's been done to death, I felt like there's enough unique qualities about this. The way it's shot, the way it looks, the acting, everything about it is just unique enough that it separates it from the pack. Now, I'm not saying this is a game changer, but if you're a fan of supernatural, creepy movies that have a lot of atmosphere and style, this is one to definitely check out. The Birds is a 1963 nature horror thriller, produced and directed by Alfred Hitchcock. It stars Tippi Hedren, Rod Taylor, and Jessica Tandy. The story focuses on a series of sudden and unexplained violent bird attacks of the people of a small seaside town.
What are you? Where did you come from? I think you're the cause of all this. I think you're evil.
So this is an absolute classic, and one of my favorite nature gone wrong, especially from the 60s movies. Because Alfred Hitchcock is just such a master filmmaker, the way he was able to get shots and different things that were not able to be done at the time. I mean, they didn't have CGI to get these birds and to get these views of things. Like, he had to do some really creative filmmaking with all kinds of tricks and things to pull off a lot of the shots in this movie. And for as old of a film as it is, it still holds up. It's intense, it's exciting, and a lot of fun. The cast do a great job with really well written dialogue, giving them lots of charm and quirky personalities. It's just a fun movie. And one of my favorite things that happened for me in 2020, when the world was shut down, the drive-in movie theater was the only thing open near me, and I pretty much lived there. Well, one night, they had this really cool double feature. It was The Birds with Psycho, back to back, and just getting to see that under the moon. It was a full moon, and I just was just blown away by how beautiful these movies looked on this massive screen. It was just incredible, especially when you go from the vivid colors of The Birds to the black and white of Psycho. Just the juxtaposition, just both are amazing movies and so much fun. And both are available right now on Netflix. So if you're feeling like you want to watch some classics, some of the best to ever be done, then I really think it's a great double feature to sit down and watch The Birds and Psycho. Either way, I think this is an absolute treasure and one that is a must watch for any fan of horror. The Rental is a 2020 horror thriller, co-written, produced, and directed by Dave Franco in his feature directorial debut. It stars Dan Stevens, Allison Brie, and Shelley Vand. Two couples rent a vacation home for what should be a celebratory weekend, but soon begin to suspect that they are being watched.
Charlie! Tell me that's not a camera.
So this is a movie that I very much enjoy, but I also know it's not for everyone because it is pretty slow. It does take its time setting it up and showing you who these characters are and slowly bringing on this dread and this uncomfortable quality. But once it gets there, I think it does a really good job of being absolutely uncomfortable, haunting, and disturbing with an ending that'll definitely stick with you. Now, this is a small movie that's set in just this one location with just a very small cast. It's not a movie that's gonna blow your doors off, not a game changer or nothing like that. But if you enjoy slow burn, indie, uncomfortable kind of movies, then this is one to definitely add to your list.
Zombieland.
Zombieland is a 2009 post-apocalyptic zombie comedy horror movie. Directed by Ruben Fleischer, it stars Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, and Emma Stone. A shy student, a gun-toting bruiser, and a pair of sisters join forces in a trek across the zombie-filled United States.
Welcome to Zombieland.
Man, what a fun movie this is. And it was really a breath of fresh air because at the time this came out, we were just getting so many zombie movies. It was really kind of just popping off this new thing, but this was one that did it different. This is one that really added a bunch of different layers and comedy to it in a unique way that was just an absolute blast. And the cast of this was absolutely perfect. Their chemistry and the characters they play are so much fun. It's gory and zany and kooky with a really unique style of the way that it's shot and the way it shows you these different scenarios happen. I love this movie. It has so much charm and character, and it really holds up to this day. And the sequel, Double Tap, is really good as well. I don't think it's as good as the original as this one, but I still think it's a fun movie and worth seeing if you haven't. But this movie's a real gem, but it's not anything to take serious at all. But I think it's perfect for your Saturday night. So do yourself a favor, grab your popcorn and your candy and enjoy! Alright guys, that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching this. You guys really are blowing me away with just your support in the comments. It's just been a great ride and I appreciate every one of you so much. But if you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this at least once every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean so much to me. And if you'd like to find out how you can help support the channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun! If you enjoyed this, click right here to watch 10 amazing movies right now over on Tubi. And I'll see you guys next time!